Hello, hello. What's going on, guys and ladies? Oh man, what a day! Oh, a good day, but what a day. Yeah, but yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day last night. And a little bit of trauma in that, but it's just what happens. Not some people. I feel like some people tend to stress out about things that haven't happened yet.
Maybe later we can
It's
build a
kind of
snow
one of the
monster.
things that I like about
Smackdown! Mr. Sniper in the house.
having faith.
Stop me! I double dare you!
Because it's like when you have faith in God, things just go the way they're supposed to go. That's what I'm learning now. So to enjoy life is to
You're not secretly some infiltrator from Volter, are you?
not freak out, to not stress out, to relinquish yourself,
Nailed him!
to not care anymore.
Bye, monster!
Like literally just drop all your defenses and just let things happen. And they talk about vulnerabilities and that. That's really what they're talking about.
Just a second!
Like being vulnerable is to let it all go and just let things be. Trust.
Gotcha!
And this is probably one of the main things I would have to say that a lot of people have lost is trust. They don't trust anybody unless they're part of some type of like groupie thing. You can't just drop your guard and just think this person's a good person.
You'll still die.
People don't want to drop their guards at all anymore. They want to keep their guards up 100% of the time. Because when they drop their guard, they believe that they're going to get hurt. But if they trust the person, then normally people are pretty trustworthy. This is why I believe that we have lots of problems in the world, honestly.
Hurry up so you can die.
People sit there and they negotiate with themselves and look for rules and problems before they even come up. Like problems and that. They put rules on all these problems and that. Oh, this person does this, or this person does that. You shouldn't date them.
Oh, suck it!
That's literally how it is in the dating community. Oh, this person does this. You shouldn't date them because they're this bad or this good or.
Oh shit! Mr. Sniper! Gotcha!
That's literally how life is for a lot of people. They look for these speculations and these speculations don't mean anything. Because a lot of people don't understand, and they stop understanding it because they sit there all day and they're like, well, I don't believe that people are nice. I don't believe that da 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 da. You see enough nice people around you, but you still don't believe people are nice. That just proves that you are untrustworthy. That is proof that you've done something that distresses someone else. So you want to implicate that everybody else is the problem when it's just you lack faith.
The fact your survival is an
You lack
accomplishment
faith in God.
is pathetic.
So you stop trusting what is in front of you. And you put up boundaries and rules and regulations.
Buy more grenades. Grenades are serious business.
And that's what potentially a lot of people do. Even myself. I tend not to do it as much. Not anymore.
You can, so
But when it comes up to it and someone else doesn't believe, doesn't have faith in what I trust, then you can't have any relationship. Everyone's always
last call for
wanting to be the best.
bullets.
Best in what? Want to say that they're worthy. You're being brainwashed to think so.
Get the Zeds out of that area.
And this way comes to the conclusion to the last thing I was talking about with that one guy. That one young man.
Maybe later we can build a snow.
How he was prejudging me for like everything that I say just to do it without actually thinking that, you know, maybe you should trust someone who doesn't have a college degree, because college degrees don't mean anything. Maybe you should trust someone that actually looks at things from a very far perspective. Someone that is actually more experienced than you. Maybe we should trust people that are older than us because they've been wiser. They've been through everything more than us. Maybe we should trust God for that He knows everything in general, and we don't need to know anything. That's where it comes from. Faith is like saying, hey, you lead me for that I follow. That's exactly what faith is. Faith in man. Why we have issues with women nowadays. They have no faith in man. So,
Found a weapon.
if I lead as a man, and my woman follows, but then gets second thoughts because of red flags and rules that other women have made up, or simp man, for instance, feminist woman and simp man have made up.
Any second now.
Love is trust incomplete.
I found ammo.
You trust that person with all your life,
Wave 5.
and that's how I think I literally, so to speak, have gave to, say, any woman or anybody that's gotten close to me. I trust the words that they say. And if I know that they're lying to me, then it shows.
Need ammo?
It shows rather quickly too.
Watch out! Steam! Like an evil ice dog. I'm burning! And stay there. Freeze right there.
I think you may be operating.
And it really does. It shows really quickly.
That you're supposed to live through this. You're not.
Because your spirit reacts to negativity. If something doesn't feel complete, like you can't trust it completely,
Spend it.
then your spirit reacts to it.
Have snowballs.
It like does like a nudge. You get like a gut feeling. That's what it's called, a gut feeling, which means your body and your spirit is trying to tell you something's wrong because it doesn't
See if I can get
feel
your fingers stuck in it.
right. Everyone's had gut feelings before. They feel like someone's not telling them something and they hide it, and you can tell that they're hiding it because they're very, very like non Like, for instance, I always talk about Max a lot, but she's a very prime example how quick our relationship was. I learned a lot of how people in general, not just women, how people in general actually act. Because it was all sunshines and rainbows at first. It was beautiful. The beauty could have lasted. But rules and regulations came up and changed the output of our relationships. Of having love and loving each other for who we were and what we were doing in our life for that time. Regulations had to pop up. Arguments popped up over other people saying such things that don't make sense. Saying things that are just literally dumbfounded and stupid and actually ignorant for one. Ignorant. Massively ignorant.
Freeze right there. Wild and crazy. Oh, my ears.
And that's what it normally comes down to. Hey, Buppy. Did you come up here to see me? Hi, babies. What are you doing? Me good puppy. Good morning. You want love? I'll give you cuddles. Yes, you always want the cuddles. It's okay. It's just a trash person. It's okay. What? Okay, you can love me, but you don't have to crawl over me, puppy. Jeez, you're like my girlfriend. You always want attention. Hi, baby. What? It's okay. Good morning, puppy. You see how pets are loyal? My dog really comes downstairs, jumps on my bed, and cuddles with me. I don't have to say anything. She just wants to be loved. So this is what love is. Surrendering themselves to someone and saying, let you be the one. And she knows I'll give her attention if she comes up here. So I give her attention. And by doing that, it makes her happy. My dog. That's how it is in real life. Sometimes unexpected attention is the best attention. Out of nowhere. If you're just sitting there focused on something and it's nothing like too important. And I think a lot of guys have problems with that. You'd be playing video games and now your woman comes on, sit at the side of your life, you're like, go play the game. I'm sorry, bro, but if a woman gives you unnecessary attention or vice versa, if a man gives you woman unnecessary attention, that attention means that's actually like someone's wanting something. They want happiness. They want love. Well, they want attention though. So does everybody else. When we don't submit ourselves to something that we have to have utter trust in, which is the hardest thing to do nowadays, we lose sight of control of our world. We lose sight all the time. So, like for instance, that many times that, let's say the beginning part of our relationship that was great. You say the honeymoon thing. We're fresh. We like being around each other now. It's like full on emotional. But what breaks that feeling? And the most things I've noticed that breaks these sort of feelings is not giving into that person with everything. When women like bring up rules and regulations nowadays, saying you gotta be like this, but this be like this, and I told my ex many times, I just want to be happy with you. Don't eat that banana, puppy. I said you want it's like you want things in that are not even here yet. Because you're scared because you have no faith in trusting me as a man. That's basically what it was. You have no faith. If I change something that goes against what you really want because you might be having all these rules and regulations and do this and do that because some other man done something different, And I'll say it again. I said it many times before. And I said to her, every new woman that I talk to, I say, you are mine and mine alone. If you don't want to be with me, then you can leave. But that's what it is. That's trust. And so when I gave honest trust to this person, it was good. We hung out a lot. We were falling for each other in that. You know, we were getting intimate with each other. You know, really nicely in that. You know, simple things like cuddles, kisses, stuff like that. But then as the relationship went on, that something changed. Sounded like someone was whispering in her ear and telling her that this man has to be like this, 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 and this. I said, for a woman to say what a man needs to be is none of their concern. Because not every man's going to be the same. I don't fall in love with the woman because her tits are fucking fat. Or because she's got a fat booty. Or because she's got big ass lips. Or because she has money in that. No. I fall in love with the personality of the person itself. The things that they like to do. That doesn't involve, you know, ridiculous amount of currency. Little things matter more than big things. So as we went through the relationship and that, you know, of course, these are just experiences, and I think a lot of men or women dealt with the same thing. You start to lose trust. You start to see the devil starts creeping in, and I knew this was happening for like a month or so before she broke up with me. Some people believe that if terms are not met, that they think that that person's not worthy. But what they should think is that person thinks that you're worthy when you have barely given much of anything at all because they actually enjoy you and enjoy how you are. Enjoy the life that you have, not enjoy the life that you don't have. So when people advocate, you have to be like this and do all this stuff and that. I said, so if it comes down to your terms, I have to do all this stuff and that for you, but what are you doing for me? It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be a term-based relationship, and no one should be that. You love the person for everything that they are, bad or good, and you have faith that things will get better as you get closer in a relationship. When you fall in love, when you surrender feelings to each other. Both parties, man and woman. Some men say, well, women should be submissive towards men in that. I say, well, what does a man do? Honor thy woman. That's the same thing as being submissive. When Jesus said, when you get married, one and one make one, you become one, as in two halves, so to speak. Why does Jesus say it like that? That means you intertwine your spirit to become one with God, one with love. That's why it's falling in love, not in love. So love is falling onto you and your partner, your girlfriend, or your wife. And the love of God is binding you two together to be one with the Father. Which means you surrender now to me for that I will make life prosper. Because you have faith in me, God, which means love. That's what it is. So the first part of my relationship, I'm trying to understand love. First part of my relationship, it was love. We were always together. We were making jokes and that. We were dealing with our problems up front. You know, she had issues in that, you know, anger issues. She, you know, did stuff in that. And I would talk to her about it and we would have discussions. I said, hey, don't think so negative. Think more positive about yourself. The world doesn't need to know you. You need to know you. And that's where the problem comes up. You'd be surprised how many people don't actually know themselves. And you gotta think, well, I am who I am. Yes, you enjoy the things that you enjoy. Yes. I like watching anime. I like seeing big titty fucking anime girls run around and jiggle their boobs. Yes, that's what I enjoy. But who I really am is what I honestly love to do. Yes, I enjoy it. I enjoy the anime. I enjoy the video games and that. But what I honestly like to do is do what I'm doing now. Preaching, talking, give out experience, give out intelligence, and try to see what I get back out of it because someone else can say something slightly different and it changes my mindset slightly. But that's what it always is. We need to surrender ourselves more to God, to the Word, and believe more into that we are already taken care of. That's what it is. Jesus said everything is part of God's plan. So everybody's already taken care of. We just have to choose to follow it or choose not to follow it. Having faith with it or not having faith with it. And that's where knowledge comes in. It's going to be a mic drop. The reason why knowledge of good and evil is so bad to a certain extent, because with knowledge gives us choices. And knowledge can be faltered by people saying stuff that is not true. So women say, guys got to have 6 packs, 6 feet, 6 figures. 666. Get your brains out of your butts. Literally, it's satanic. All these women that want this stuff, they're Satanism. That's literally why they say that. They don't understand that because they don't believe in God. They think Satan doesn't exist. Well, that's the biggest thing about Lucifer. He doesn't want you to know that he exists. Because if you know that he exists, then he loses all of his power because you have to know that God exists. And that's where it comes from. Nifty, isn't it? Why are feminist women all what? All upset because they can't find a man? Because they're not giving in all the way in faith and love, which is God, and man, which is right below that. God made man first, woman second. Why is it like that? Because love is passed down that way. Who asks the woman to marry? A man. Who's normally the one that says they love them first? Normally men do. Why? Because it's passed down through the father to the man, to the woman, and to the child, to their children, and to their children's children. And all of a sudden, it gets passed down through generations of humans. But when that love gets severed because we stop having faith, then you demoralize all the love that's been passed down to make you. Life's never perfect. No, because we are sinners. Because we have knowledge. And knowledge can be brainwashed or manipulated to do whatever it wants to do. That's why when you submit yourself to God, you don't need to know anything. You just enjoy what you enjoy. I know killing people is bad, but I play a game that kills monsters. But my heart doesn't give into it saying I'm going to do it. My spirit knows better. I know better. I do it for the entertainment. Saying, hey, it's fun. My mindset's not out run around Grand Theft Autoing. No. But the thing is, sometimes your thoughts are not your own. You gotta think about this. When you're a kid, we're still talking about knowledge. This is what it is. When you're a kid, you know nothing. So what do? You play with things. You're playing with toys, and you're like, yay. You like playing with trains, and you go on the ground and drive shit. Your imagination pops up. You don't know anything about sex. You don't know anything about killing. You don't know anything about anything that happens. You give your surrender to your parents. Basically, you not knowing surrender to God. And everything's fine. Maybe little things happen, but having faith makes the evil go away. How many people had major accidents when they're kids and that, and for some reason they're fine. They're healed. How many people have scars on their heads for doing stupid shit? They have faith. They get healed. I get countless stitches in my head because I done stupid shit. And I remember my scars. I got one right in my front. And I remember that day. Me and my brothers were messing around that, and I jumped off the bed and hit the corner of the bed, and it kind of pushed my skull in. A little crack in my skull. I healed. But all these things that build you up, they're just trying to make you stronger. That's why having faith in everything that happens to that, sometimes it's a discipline. When I say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, that's just how discipline is. Pain is it's a natural reaction to surviving. If you can feel it, you're good. Why do you think people numb pain all the time? Because they believe and they have the knowledge of thinking that's what it is that makes me feel better. To ignore the pain, to ignore my suffering. But your loved ones will sit there and disagree with you because they love you in that. So when you push that love away, because you don't believe in God, which that's where love comes from. Because see it all the time. I'll be upfront with you. I love research. I love studying every single thing in my life and everything that comes around me to understand, certain things. Honestly, I wish I didn't know any of this. I wish I didn't know much of my stuff. I wish I just had fun and just be experienced. But you know what? Knowing that we have the knowledge and we have sin on us, we're going to make mistakes no matter what. I used to be a very angry person and I say why? Because I didn't do the things that need to be done. And now that I am, I was disciplined. I was disciplined and tormented by the devil for many, many years. And I finally figured it out. I have to trust. I have to have faith in God. So life changes. I gave myself to Jesus and life starts changing. Slowly but surely, I start to see how great life is. I am submissive to Father. That's why I talk about it all the time. Oh man, the farts are getting so bad. Woo! I think I got a little bit of a tummy ache. I'm farting a lot. But anyway. So every time we want to think that no one loves us, you can't have love unless you have faith in God. Because when I talk about love, especially to a woman, for instance, and they say, I don't believe in love, then I'll be like, what do you believe in then? When they say don't believe in love, they literally say, I don't believe in God. They don't think they're the same. I say, yeah, they are. That's sad because most people, especially women, are emotionally closer to God than men are. Their hearts beat. They're like, well, I've been treated like crap for so long, and I said, okay, well, look at the reasons why you're treated like crap. Number one, you talk about red flags. I say if you love someone, them red flags should never matter. Because people have the idea in their head that they have to have this, and this before they die. I say, who says that? Who says you need to see the world before you die? Man, woman. Okay, so humans. Say, you gotta see the world before you die. Why? When you ask the question, why? A lot of times, well, because I want to. Want. So want. Why and want. These are all questions. They're all the W's. When, why, want. No. So, it's like, okay. You don't need to, because that's not survivable. You want to because it got put into your head by someone else to trigger you to think that way. See where I'm going? Knowledge. Someone gave you knowledge, and it's a thing that you want, but you make it into a need. When we use want and need, Want is saying, I don't need it, but maybe it'd be nice if it did happen. But when you go and dive deep into the word want, people literally change that into a need. I need to see the world in that, or I can't survive. Because I can just be like, I got a checklist of stuff that I need to see. Why does that even matter? So you're saying you can't be happy until that is done. I say, well, okay, well, if you can't be happy with that, then when are you going to be happy? So going back to a relationship, I was happy every single time I spend time with my lady. Always happy. And to prove a point that God exists, I believed, have faith. I'm a lover. I love because I have faith with God. So I love everything around me. Now, do I care about negative impacts in my life? No. If it's towards me, for instance, I don't care. Like, depends what it is. Sometimes things can be changed by words. Sometimes asking a simple question like, how are you doing, can change the facts of how they feel. Because you're giving them what? You're submitting yourself to them by asking a question. How are you feeling today? That means that you have to trust their words. And most times, people like when you trust them. Yes, there is liars out there, but most people intentionally, when you ask simple questions like, how are you? They not only give you how they feel. So you're already learning how to submit yourself to someone by asking questions. Because it means you don't want anything in return. You want the return of love. To ask a question is to give out care, to give out love. That means you're concerned because something's wrong and you want to ask why. Even with nothing in return. I don't want your money. I don't want anything in return. I just want you to tell me the truth. That's more than enough to make me happy. But knowledge gets put in the cesspool of people and that, which is social media. And people start to believe all this stuff in that. So they're saying, all these women are hoes. Technical term, yes. Does it make them bad? No. It makes them have body count. Yes. Are they emotionally damaged? Yes. Do they want love? Of course they do. But they don't have faith in God, so they don't receive it. They can say they do, like, I believe in the universe. Well, that's not God. That's part of God, but it's not God. So I listen to feminist women all the time on that. And I'm going to go back to my ex that a little bit. This is how the experience works. Listen to a lot of people that have to try to pinpoint certain things. It's all the same stuff. I have no faith in the man that I'm with because he doesn't meet expectations that I want. But God says otherwise, obviously. Because I don't believe God gives you everything that you want. Because Jesus does say God gives what you need, not what you want. And it's not going to be what you think it is. It's going to be something that you need. So when you look back, the word need comes down to love and discipline. Because a need is something to survive on. So if someone is hurt, they need to be healed. So their wounds heal up over time with proper nutrition and taking care of yourself. Yeah? That's what a relationship is. A relationship could be someone that you need to heal your heart, to give you life again, to renew yourself. That is what most of these feminist women and most of these hoe guys, not every feminist woman is a hoe, no. But most of the people that lack faith in God, that's what they need most. They need God, they need love. But they try to push it down, saying it's a weakness. This is the false knowledge of Lucifer. Lucifer loves to say, you don't need God, just live the world, be a hoe. Be miserable like me, but you'll have the world. You have money. You'll have everything. So you focus on that. I say I like my money. I don't think about my money. I like it, but I don't praise it. It's not a status holder. It doesn't matter to me. If I say, yeah, I barely ever talk about my inheritance and stuff like that. I honestly don't care. I know what I have, but it doesn't retain to my heart. I can talk about it and say, yeah, I got stuff in that, but I don't care. It doesn't do anything for me. I know at the end of the day, either I can blow it all on stupid shit, or I can save it up for, occasions that need it to be used for. Oh. Oh. Some people give into it because they have faith with it. They believe in it. So, if you believe in money is your God, which is basically what a belief is, you believe in something more than love, then you miss the whole point of love. You miss the whole point of what the Father's given you. Some people believe in that, and their lives are good. They say, well, my life's great, and I got money, and I can do all this stuff. Like, yeah. Well, what happens when you get done with all that stuff? What happens if you buy all the most expensive cars? What happens if you drive a car into a fucking, off a bridge and that and survive? You do all these things you want to do in the world and that. What is left? It's like, well, I can die in peace. And I said, with a brain like that, you can't die in peace because there's always something that you want. So go back to Max and that. There's always something that she wanted. So why don't you do what you need and just be done with it? You need entertainment, yes. You need food, yes. But you want too much of other things. So you want all these other things and that, and I'm just like, but you have me. And that's not enough to see me, to interact with me, to kiss me, to hug me, to have foreplay with me, to get intimate with me. You want everything else. You want the world. And I said, well, you're not going to get the world because the world doesn't just give everything to people. It's because you cry about it. I was like, and I know what I said to her? So I just want to be happy with you. Hence, I want to love you. I just want to be happy with you. That's it. I like watching, movies with you. I love sitting there in the morning and seeing you sit down next to me. I remember all these things. And when we first started, dating that. Seeing you sit down next to me and waking me up with your beautiful glowing eyes and face and seeing that big old fat round butt next to me. Just seeing you made me more happier than all the things in the world. Why? Because that is what love is. I didn't care about all the stuff that we did. I just cared that you were with me. That's how I said it. And at first, it was like that. We just want to see each other. We want to love each other. But then things start to spark up. Because I am a follower of Christ. And I believe in humility. I believe in not to get in arguments and fight with people. Because it's not my concern. I can say things, yes. Like there's certain things I did. I defend my woman the best of my ability now without beating the fuck out of someone, yes. But I believe somewhere around there, she lost trust with me because of how I did things. Says you don't need to be violent and get in arguments and yell and scream at people and show dominance when that dominance is actually not dominance. You're showing how ignorant you are. To let something go takes more strength than it does to violate that person, to have violence towards that person. You know how much strength it takes to walk away from a fight? Many experts and many very disciplined martial arts, especially myself, it is difficult when you have the strength to take care. But the reason why that person might be angry with you might not even be because of you. That's the reason why active violence doesn't matter. You shouldn't be active violence because that might not be on you. That person might have had a bad day. That person might have been angry with someone else or taking it out on you. See, anger doesn't care where it goes as long as it goes. But anger only erupts when you're the one triggering it. So if someone gets angry with you and you yell back, it pulls the trigger of the gun, basically. That person, they'll love it. They're like, well, you're a bitch, and start cussing out, start getting all this rampage. They feel like it's powerful. Because they get adrenaline in their blood. They get slightly stronger, like a very little bit stronger than that. They're like, blah, blah. But most times, it's not their true heart. They just talk. Because they're frustrated. So they need someone to talk to. They need someone to say what? How are you doing? Those magical words can heal a heart very easily. If you ask someone, how you doing? How you feeling today? Because you seem disturbed. You seem negative. So what is the problem? If I can help by talking to you about it, by noticing it, and saying, hey, let's talk. Now, if it's a problem that is very, outlandish, they can talk. People can talk. But if it's something like, and you have to give feedback and knowledge on it, saying, well, why do you feel that way about something? Like talking to a woman about their boyfriend. Well, he doesn't do this for me and do that for me. I'm like, okay. So the question comes down to, do you feel this way because of what he's doing wrong? Or do you feel this way because of what people are telling you that he's doing wrong? That's what sparks the idea. Because most people, especially women that are on TikTok, they get ideas from women that make no sense. I said for women that have very low experience and actually don't know anything half the time when they talk on TikTok and that, they're just doing it. I watched one that said, hey girls, I went on 2 dates today. They're just trying to communicate. None of the stuff that they have is mattering. They want attention. So as they get that attention, they grow their accounts. Like, you talk about my day. So yeah, there's certain things happen in my day, yes. I talk about the little things that happen in that. And of course, it's all, from a very, loving perspective for the most part. Now, people might say, yeah, I do that for attention. Yeah, I do. But mine's a thirst for understanding. But now it's getting to the point is where I don't want to understand. Just I want to understand love. You want to understand God. That's nearly impossible. People get upset about it. It's like, what do you mean you don't want to understand stuff? So it means that you're stupid. I said, I'd rather be stupid and not know shit and be happy as fuck and enjoy my life with the full intent of what God wants me to do than it is to know something that I'll never know. Because that pondering and thinking gets me nowhere. It's just wasting my precious time in this world before I die. So I might miss my stuff. I might miss marriage. I might miss love. I might miss all these other things in life. Because I walk out of the path that doesn't make any sense to me now, that it used to a little bit when I was younger. It doesn't pertain to me as much. It's always been my philosophy. I always like to learn emotional psychology. When it comes down to all the stuff that I researched and all the stuff that I ever talked about in that, it only comes back to one thing: love. God. So why learn it? Just to talk about it? To say, hey, look at me. Does it help people? Yeah. But it's not me that's doing it. I'm only the messenger. I give out a message and people take it with what they want or what they need. Jesus always say, pray alone for yourself, that everybody's different. Everyone has certain needs and wants that God provides for them. And most people always want to say, wealth, give me wealth. If I had $1 million right now, my life would be different. It would be different because you have $1 million. My life could be better if I had this because I could have the girl of my dreams. I can have that big titty one with a big old booty in that I see all the time on OnlyFans and that I jack off all the time too. Yeah, you can have all that. But the discipline probably is going to be, are you actually happy? Because once you get something, King Samuel did this best. David's son, King of Jerusalem, he said it best in the Bible. So for all the things that I have from this world, I still don't have anything. And he wanted to know why. So God told him. He said, without me, you will never enjoy your life. People want to ask the question, why? Well, let's go like this. The less you know, the more you enjoy. Think about a disability person. Think about people that are actually, we would say stupid. People that lack they lack knowledge. But they can live life just fine without all that knowledge. Because instinctively, you know when you're hungry because your stomach growls. You know when you're thirsty because you feel dehydrated. You feel hungry, you feel dehydrated. So what's with the feels? God's intuition and goes upon you. You feel danger. You feel hungry. It's all about feelings. So feelings come from the spirit. The spirit implicates it through God, through you, to feel danger. This is what the Holy Spirit does. Sometimes say, well, it's a sixth sense. Yeah, exactly. You're being messaged all the time, but you don't want to hear it. More or less like you feel it, but you don't technically hear it. Anyone ever get a gut feeling about something? You're just like, I feel this is bad, like I shouldn't be doing this. Really? Use the concept that I said. Your spirit's telling you something by making you feel that way. God's telling you something through your spirit to say, hey, at least that's how I interpret it. Hey, something's happening, stay away. Because they do say in the Bible, like, God does push you away from women. I got a gut feeling with my woman and that, and I was thrilled when she broke up with me. Not thrilled because I didn't like her, thrilled because God was right. Thrilled. Yeah, I was heartbroken because I wanted something different out of her. But when things start to change and she stopped having faith in me, stopped having faith in love, I said, what's the whole point of having you all together? Because your butt's fat? Because you got nice boobs? Or because your smile's pretty? So you retain just with looks, but not with the spirit. Not with the feelings of the spirit inside of you. With your heart. We're supposed to feel. Now, how do we interpret our feelings? Depends. Sometimes there's different scenarios of feelings. Sometimes feelings can be like, why do you do this? And you could say, well, I don't know. Why do you feel that way? And the person can say, I don't know either. Then you pray upon it. Because them sort of feelings are coming from God. You pray upon it to understand the feelings. It's like, why does my heart hurt? Heartache. Because heartache is it's like a severance. You sever yourself from God a little bit. You lose faith in what He's trying to show you. And it may not be what you think it is. God does push you away from people. And sometimes someone comes into your life that you may not know that should be your lover. And God's pushing you away from another person to be with that man because that man is suitable for the plan that He wants you to have. So you slowly get closer to that man. You talk to him more. You smile with him more. You laugh with him more. You interact with him more. You listen to him more. Because you're thrilled by it. You want to get closer because you see something about him that makes you happy. It could be attraction. It could be skinniness. It could be a lot of different things. But most of the times, it's the feeling that you get with that person. And I'm talking about a Pacific someone. And sometimes they can do it because they're just miserable and they want someone else to give them love. And yes, that happens a lot, especially in the workplace. And they see someone that treats them bad for so long and they don't know what to do and they freak out. And then just to say the man that they're with is a coward. He hasn't learned how to be a full-fledged man or woman, depends on the situation. Yes, that's how our feelings are. Our feelings literally guide us. God literally guides us and pushes things away from us. But people want to cope with it because they say it's going to get better. I said, if you choose to be in a relationship and things don't get better at a certain period of time, what is better? Ask that question. What is better? Say, if you need more money than that, you work. If you want someone to take care of themselves, you have to let them heal. They need to do something different. They have to change their life around just like everybody else does. We all do it. The people that say, well, my life has been so bad that I can't change it. I say, your life's been bad, that's because you're a pussy and you don't want to change it. That's where the coward comes in. To cope with your past and to never move forward. Copium. I do think about my past, but my past doesn't put me back into that feeling session that much. If I do, say, I feel the positives of it. Like Max. Yeah, there's some bad things, but a lot of it, I would say 90% of it was nice. It was great. When things got frustrated with certain things, sometimes I ignored it because it wasn't personal with me. It was just an aggravation, like a bad day at work. I never took it personal, at least not that I know of that much. I listen and reply, and then, you know, stuff like that. So I remember one instant. We were sitting there and and a conversation came up, and I guess I said something that hurt her feelings, I guess. I didn't know because I was confused as fuck. I'm really good at picking up on the stuff in that. And I'm just oh, like what the fuck's going on? And it was something that happened. And she trusted me to do something. And no, I would say let's step by step, let's go through how these emotions are. On my behalf, I said, why are you getting so angry at something that is very small? You are literally temper tantrum. And you want me to give you full on forgiveness over something tiny, so to speak. Because I don't think anything's really that big. Something small. But it's an agitated thing that people tend to freak out really heavy about. Especially women. And yeah, guys do it too, but you know, I'm going from a woman's perspective. she didn't trust me that I cared for her. And so something happened and she didn't trust my judgment. She didn't trust how I felt. She lost faith in me. I can't remember 100% exactly what it was now, but I remember part of it. I was sitting there, something happened and you know, she said something that I could record. Why aren't you man up and apologizing to me? I said, I don't know what to apologize for. Like, I don't know why you're upset because I don't get upset over that stuff. So I was asking the question, why are you upset? So if someone has explained something to you and they're just like forcing to apologize for something that they don't know of, why are you not communicating with me and say why you're upset about it? So what it was, I triggered an emotion in her that probably didn't have anything to do with me. It was something else, but it reminded her of that something else. And I got confused. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? It's like, you know what I'm talking about. You know, it went down this road that, being kind of, upsetting that. I would say ignorant, whatever the word you might want to say. And then finally, I said, no, fuck it. I gave her a hug and I was like, I'm sorry. It's like, I don't know what's going on. I want you to explain to me. But in that case, what was the actual problem with that? It was something childish. Because when you affect feelings, especially in a woman, that sometimes when feelings could be just for honestly pure attention. I've seen plenty of women just go down this road and do this whole like, oh my god, they do all this crying shit. And they want women, they want a man to feel for them. Temper tantrum, cry babies in a way. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, so these are the little things that I start seeing, and I say, okay, how can I deal with this situation to make this better? When I'm getting all these emotional, these outrageous emotional bursts, and sometimes most of it has nothing to do with me, just something that happened with, work and that, or just something that happened in general and that, and she'll talk about it. Because that's what people do. We talk about our life and that. And so I think about situations like, so if I didn't do anything completely wrong, and you're just doing it, then you're at fault in some senses because you're not giving me any detail that you want me to spit guess. It's like I'm how intelligent I might be to read vibes and understand certain things. I'm not going to be a mind reader and be like, oh, no, why? Because it wasn't real. It was fake emotions thrown upon me for something very obviously that did not make any sense to me. Like me not noticing her hair change or something like that. And then what's so funny is when feminist women say, I don't wear makeup for men. I don't change my hair for man. I don't wear nails for man. But for the man that they're attracted to, they have to notice that. So yes, you don't do for all man, you do for that man. The man. I remember times before we went on before we actually started getting dating that my ex would come in, and when she knew that she was working alone with me, she would come in and wear makeup and that. She spruced herself up. And I'm just like, why are you wearing makeup? It's like, well, I just want to look pretty now. It's like, you're already pretty even without makeup. I'm like, makeup doesn't make you more pretty. And the concept of a woman, it does. Because it covers up faults. Whatever faults that they might have that they think about themselves. So I say lack of confidence. Women that wear a lot of makeup and that, they have lack of confidence in the features that they already have. And sometimes it's to hide something. To hide something, if you get what I mean. To hide something that is burning them, hurting them, whatever word you want to use. I was going to a burden to them. and they want you to compliment. So I compliment you all the time without makeup. So you want me to compliment you with makeup. Why? Well, I think that I look more attractive with makeup on. So you're going by what you see in the mirror, not for what I see. So who is attracting to you? Me. So you should go with what I see in you, not what you see in yourself, because you're trying to attract me, not yourself. That is the problem right there. You see how I did that? So women put all their dress on that, they show their butts off in that, they look in the mirror in that, they do this all the time. Every woman's got a gigantic fucking mirror in their fucking room in that likes doing this shit. They stick their butt out, they do all this stuff that's like, I look really cute today. What they're trying to say is, I'm probably gonna get a lot of guys gonna look at me and I know that I'm fucking sexy. So hint the word sexy, what does that mean? You're trying to be sexual for certain men. Because you know if a man looks at you that you're attracted to, it makes you happy. And your hormones get higher and that, you're all like, I did a good thing today. I worked on my butt today, it's kind of staring right at my booty, and I was just like, damn, he's hot. And then, Team Ramrod off of Super Troopers. They want to get rammed, they want to get rod, they want to get screwed. Sex, lust, fucking, whatever it might be. No intention. Anybody does anything without trying to get attention from someone that they're attracted to. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. There's always someone that we're attracted to. We're always trying to get attention from them. And women do it by the way they wear stuff. Guys do it by sometimes putting on cologne. So if I go on there and I put on deodorant and that, and I spray my beautiful cologne on that my ex got me in that. Well, I got for myself that, but she liked it. And I'm saying, well, I guess a lot of other women like it, so I wear it a lot. It smells great. It's called Ocean. It's from Bad Bath Beyond. If I put that on, you're like, oh no, I'm trying to smell good for myself. No, really, I want you to smell me because I'm attracted to you. Not every woman that comes across me. Only certain ones. For my choosing. So if I come in there and smell good because one girl's there and that's already triggers something to make me notice, okay, you have something that you like about me. And so I identify it. I look at her and that, look at her, I look at her butt, I look at her breasts and that, I look at her face and that. And I know, I try to understand the personality that I know. And then I put it all together. I say, is this the one that I want to try to get a relationship with? Is this the one I'm trying to get closer to? Because do I get a good sex appeal about it? Do I get aroused by it? Do I like the way she smiles? Do I like the way she talks? Do I like the emotional output of her? Is she happy? Is she go lucky in that? Is she someone that I can bring to the family? Is she someone that I can, lay down with and just watch a movie with and have her like rub her big old butt up against me and that and try to like be somewhat seductive because all men like that shit. And have me be just seductive back by grabbing on her, her boobs and that. And like, this is what goes through almost anybody's mind. Of course, not exactly, but we ponder about this stuff. How am I going to interact with this person to make my life better? Because I want to be happy. And have some girl with a fat butt rub on my cock makes me happy. Because that's every man's thing. Yeah, I like that shit. It makes you happy. You get pleasure from it. You get love from it. It doesn't mean that you have to have sex, no. So that's the way I would say I have to look at it. Now, would I add, say this person up to my ex? No, not really, because they're different. Anyone can be pleasant up front, but later on they can be unpleasant because they'll get used to it. Honeymoon phase. It's not a honeymoon phase. You know what it is? You're submitting yourself to that man and vice versa to that woman because you honestly are falling in love. See, the falling in love happens at the very beginning when you're all like, I'm so happy and thrilled to be with this person now. I love everything about them and that. But as you go through, the devil likes to sneak his way in to say, are you really happy? That guy's dick looks a little funny. Think about it. When people say something like that, you fall for this. This is literally Lucifer doing this. These are demons trying to provoke you. Jesus says in the Bible, Lucifer is going to try to provoke you to think of something that is not true. Try to say, look at the red flag here. Look at this red flag. Feminists talk about red flags. Red flag this, red flag that. Do you believe in satanic things? And I don't care about that. You're Satan. You're Satanism. You're a succubus. You're a demon for all you. You're invaded by a whole bunch of entities that because you believe in stuff that is not true. All the red flags that people want to look for is an idea that was developed by Lucifer to pull you away. That's why they're miserable. All these women that do all this shit look for the 666, the 666. They're all miserable. They drink more, they smoke pot more, they smoke more, they do all these things more. And they're saying, well, it's just the culture. No. It's just your culture because that's what you. The big word that most people don't like to use and actually understand why, these things happen. What you believe in. That's what you believe in. I don't believe in all of that. I believe in God. I believe in the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And I do have more and more faith with it the more I know it. The more I read the scripture, the more I start hearing the scripture now, the more I start to understand. And then I feel more joyful. I feel more happy. I surrender to enjoy my life. To enjoy my life for God's pleasure. Let God, the Father, and the Son, the Holy Spirit, deal with all my problems. For that I can live life enjoying it without any hassle. To know if something happens, I'll have faith in you, O Father, O Son, O Holy Spirit, to be there to deal with it. That is faith. I'm watching The Chosen and that, and The Chosen always speaks of this. Jesus always talks about it in the Gospels and that. When The Chosen, it's an actor playing as Jesus. He always talks about faith. He always says to people, he's like, you don't even know me, but you have faith that I will heal your daughter. That means surrender. That I have no power. You are the power. You are the Word. You are the Father. You are the Holy Ghost. I don't want to worry. I don't want to know how you work. And that's one of the things, people want to know how it works. In some ways you do. But if you had none of that knowledge, none of the knowledge of saying, I want to know, welcome to paradise. Because that knowledge will not be there when you go. You will not know, and all you will care about and know of is your enjoyment in life. The things that pique your interests, the colors that you like, the food that you like, the people you'll want to be around. That is exactly what it is to surrender yourself to God. Like a child surrenders themselves to their family, to their father, to take care of them. So now that you got that concept in your head, everyone knows that a child has to be taken care of, right? And everyone's going to agree with that, yeah? That's what the Father God wants for everybody. Because with knowledge becomes sin. Because you're not supposed to know. You're just supposed to enjoy. Enjoy the beautiful birds chirping every morning. Enjoying the fish flipping and flopping on the waterfront. Eating bugs and shit. Enjoying the beautiful flowers that bloom that smell so great. You can rub it all over your body and that feel great. Or give it to a gift to a woman that you love. Showing that I gave you God's flower. Smells so good like you. Dedicating your love through the Father with the flower. Because Father, God created the flower for you to pick and smell and give it to someone that you love, showing that dedication. That's why women love flowers. They normally don't know why, but now you do. God's showing you the feeling that you get. I want to get this for her because I love her, oh Father, Almighty God, Master of the universe. And so you do it. And it's not doing it. Some people say, well, I want to do it because, I want to get laid. Actually, guys don't do that. Guys that want to get laid don't do that at all. And you want to say, well, why is that? Because they don't love. They don't have faith in God, at least in that term. They don't love. They're like, well, she's not worth anything. She's only worth the pussy that she gives me. And then the woman might be like, well, you're only worth the meal that you give me. That's literally how it is. But someone that's loving gives a beautiful flower. You can give just one. It smells so beautiful. You give it to someone, any girl, and say, I dedicate myself to you. That woman really, her heart would drop. She'll get a huge amount of butterflies in her stomach. And that woman will be submissive to you and be vulnerable and saying, do you really love me? With all my heart. Which is saying all God's glory. See, people misinterpret how the Father is, and when you read the scripture and that you understand the Father is really love. The Father wants you to be happy. He wants you to enjoy the creation that He made for you. He made for you. It's like, well, you're a sinner in that. Yes. But that's where faith comes in. Because before you were a sinner, you had all faith because you didn't know what sin was. And then when you ate from the tree of knowledge, you start to know what sin was. Just like he said and with Adam and Eve. He said, you walk around naked with no shame until you ate from the tree of knowledge. Then once you ate from the tree of knowledge, you walked around naked no more because you had shame. Shame. The word shame. Because you learn the knowledge of shamefulness. You learn the knowledge. This is how it works. This is literally how life works. People don't want to say it like this, but this is literally how life works. If you had no knowledge like a child, children will run around naked all the time. The reason why they don't run around naked is because the parent gives you the knowledge to say it's shameful. So who gives you the knowledge to say it's shameful up front? Demons? Lucifer? Someone wants you to go against God? So I love my knowledge. I love helping people to the best of my abilities. But the best thing I can do, and I have to say, is tell them to pray. Because I am not your keeper. The Father is. And the Word, Lord Jesus Christ, is your keeper. God is the one you should be talking to. I just tell you stuff. And the best of my ability to lead you to Jesus. That is the whole point of preaching. That's the whole point of it. You have your own life. I cannot tell you anything. I can suggest things, but it's up for you to pray to Lord Jesus and give the Father up above your undying faith to say, take me, I am yours. I submit my life to you for that you know best for me. Because Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge. And the knowledge that I have now is faulty, for that it is not meant for me to understand. For that understanding it Knowing that I'm not perfect is corrupt. So get the idea in my head. So one of the biggest things that people struggle with, they say they struggle with, masturbation nowadays because the porn's all over the place. If you had no knowledge of a woman's breasts, no knowledge of being horny, would you be horny? Or a woman's butt, or a woman's vagina, or anything that attracts you? Because you're clueless when it first happens. When you see a woman's breasts in high school and that all of a sudden a girl comes in and her tits are big as fuck, and all of a sudden you just get an erection. You don't know why. You're like, I'm really fucking, well, what is this feeling? You don't know what the word means. You feel it first before you understand. And then someone says, seems like you're just really horny. Is that what horny is? So you gain knowledge by knowing a word that means something. It connects you to why you're horny. I guess I'm aroused because that girl's got a big rack. I guess I like big boobs. So you gain knowledge. But if you didn't know any of that knowledge, you just accept, my dick's hard. And the idea is your feelings tell you first before the words make sense and meaning of it. Before you get the meaning of a word, you already feel it happening. Which is who? That's God's intuition to say, that is the one you're attracted to, and that is the one you're going to reproduce with. That is the one you're going to give your love and undying love to. And it could be multiple women in that, but you know what? Sometimes just that one. Everyone always has that one. I had one. Her name was Chelsea Kendall. I loved her since kindergarten. As soon as I saw her, her beauty hit me in the fucking face. She didn't have gigantic boobs. She actually was very, small and petite. But her beauty of her face drove me fucking crazy. And I remember it. I was in love with her all the way through high school. But then I realized she was a hoe. She dated a lot of fucking guys. And I tried to talk to her in that. And if I tried to talk to her today, she would remember me. And then sometimes, I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago, I did talk to her. I met her on Facebook, and I talked to her like, hey, how you doing, Chelsea? It's been a while. And she'd go, hey, Cody, and that. It's like, yeah. She'd talk about life and that, and, we just talk about life and that. And I told her, I had a huge crush on you for, like, the longest time and that. It's like, well, I really liked you in that. She's like, yeah, da-da-da. And no. And nothing ever turned of it. That was my first crush. The first person I would say God was trying to tell me as a person. We would have beautiful kids because we were both very attractive people. She was very beautiful in that. But I was obsessed with her. It was just like, God's telling me to love you, and I want to love you. But you don't love me. I never understood why that she never gave me anything back. Well, because I never confessed myself to her. That's how it was. Did I lose my chance of love in life? No. God gives me many love, and sometimes it could just be a test. Because this woman ended up being an alcoholic. She was, had a lot of issues in that. But I don't know why God wanted me to get closer to her. Yeah, she was beautiful. In my eyes, she was gorgeous. I didn't think about how big her boobs were. I didn't think about how big her butt was. I didn't think anything really sexual of her. I was young. I just thought about, wow, she's beautiful. I fell in love with the beauty. And I know why. I was so scared to talk to her. I was so nervous. Because I had a stutter. I couldn't really read that well. My speech was kind of crappy a little bit. But then I found out when I was attracted to her, I missed out on like 10 different women that I could have been with in high school. Gorgeous women, like tip top, like wow, she's a fucking banger. And when I go back in my past, I try to look at all this stuff and say, so why did I worry about this woman when I had all these other women that I could attract to? And not all of them, well, not all the women attracted to me, just certain ones. You know which ones, the ones that glance at you a lot, they always eyeball you and that. Attraction normally comes from the eyes. And to go back on that, a lot of girls always say that I was attractive. Like, oh, you're cute and that. Da, da, da. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And as of today, same thing. Oh, you're handsome. You're attractive. I said, I like having that. I like having that attention. Do I give in to it? No. But I say, but every time someone doesn't that, what do? I have to give them a chance. Because I don't know. If someone's like saying, like, okay, you look like a good person. You're calling me out. You're saying, oh, I think you're attractive. Well, 100 women think I'm attractive. It's only up for me to choose one. So I have the moral high account to choose who I want, depending on who they are. See, for instance, if my ex ever broke up with me and that, then I would never have a chance to meet someone new. Someone that I actually could be with. Someone I actually could be closer to. And I don't know. I would say someone said something that someone thinks I'm attractive in that. And I don't know what's going to happen. I have no clue. I don't know if the person's going to keep on pushing on the subject. Because I already told everyone that I always tell most people that about my life up front, at least to a certain degree. Because people are always curious. Always ask, do you have a girlfriend or, do you have a boyfriend or whatever it is? If it's the opposite. If I was a woman. People always ask those things. I wonder why you asked that. Because you're attracted to me. I set the stage every single time now. And I say it like this. And when we take it the opposite, it's funny. I go into a job and I know I'm going to get attracted to by someone here automatically. First off, because I'm new. And second off, I'm already knowing that I'm more attractive than most dudes. Throw that out there automatically. Guys can get mad. I really don't give a fuck. Oh, why do you think that? Because it happens all the time. Okay? Now, it does not mean that, that I'm a player and that. No, I don't play the game. I throw my game out and see who plays it. That's exactly what I'm doing. I do that now and I'll do that forever now because now I understand. So my game is saying someone's going to attract to me and I already know I don't get relationships at work and that because I think it's going to interfere with my job. I'm here to work. I'm here to have fun, do little things and that and be done with it. But there's always going to be a person, if not multiple people, they're going to try to get with me. Try to get closer. Call me handsome. Call me attractive. Stare at my ass. Stare at my face. Get really fucking close to me and just sit there and I mind my own business. Trying to grab attention by things that they wear. Or absolutely, whoops, I dropped something, bend over in front of me. Or any of these actions that do take place. Not saying that's what's happening. But I'm saying any of these actions. This is how I have to look at it for my own self-defense. I'm already aware about how these things happen. So I have to be sure I don't get hurt. I don't want any negative influence on me, like losing my job. I'm already doing good at my job, and I don't want to lose my job. Because I lost my job because of these interactions. Or I left the job because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So I try to not care about it. So if someone is attracted to me, I have to look at it from a far perspective. Do I want a relationship? Of course I do. Is this person going to be laid back like me? I hope so. I hope they don't want too much. Because too much is too much. That is a relaxing, simple life. Being with that person is all I would want. Whoever this person might be. And that's the thing with me. That's the thing that I want, personally. And I don't want all the other crap. If I can say, just seeing you is all I need, then that's all I want. I'll go with that. Okay, well, I'm gonna go. Take it down. I'll be back.
other groups that have been mistreated in America should also receive reparations.
What are those other groups?
Well, they're not necessarily by America, but let's just take one. Jewish Americans, right? Okay. They almost got eliminated in the Holocaust. Should they receive reparations?
Not from us.
Okay, not from us.
Not from the United States.
Okay. So here's my view, and I want to hear yours, which is that I did not own slaves, and you were not a slave.
Correct.
Right. So we are individuals, and therefore we cannot be held accountable or should receive something from something that didn't happen to us or something we did not do. That is a basic law of justice, that I can't be held accountable for something that somebody looked like me did, and you should not benefit from something that somebody you were related to. Now, you'll probably say systemic racism and how that passed down to generations. Happy to address that. The problem with reparations, though, is basically what you're saying is, I'm going to take money from Charlie Kirk for something he didn't do and give it to a group of something, to somebody of something they also didn't do. For what reason? How is that just?
So not so much how is it just, but there are those arguments that says because of what happened in the past, this group of people have been negatively affected from this nation's crimes against humanity to that certain group of people, and that's how we see it, or how some people see it, if you will.
Okay, sure, but I will say that even if there is some truth to that, which I wouldn't even be willing to grant very much, because Black America was doing incredibly well before the not incredible. They were pacing to be even richer than white America. Is that we must look through the question of is it just and moral to take from one group, especially first and second generation immigrants had nothing to do with this. So think about it. Your tax base would be taxing, like if anyone here is Irish or Polish and your family came 100 years ago, we would be taxing people that had nothing to do with it. And I'll go a step further. My family fought on the Union side of the Civil War. Right? So you're going to be taxing Charlie Kirk, whose descendants fought to free the slaves, to go give money to people that were descended, from slaves. So what is a way that we could try to help all communities? Here's maybe we can find some common ground, right? Sure. Instead of reparations. Sure. Is that we need to break the cartel of public sector teacher unions, allow school choice to occur, and make it easier for people of all backgrounds, but specifically Hispanic and Black individuals and young kids to have a quality education, because a good education in K through 12 is one of the most assured ways that they'll be able to succeed later in life. Secondly, we need to put fathers back in the home.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's 70.
Hey, my name's Blair. Just got a question.
Do you think that strength work, like heavy strength work, 1 to 5 reps, is compatible with bodybuilding, or do you think they conflict with each other? I'm asking you.
I find that once I stop worrying about how much weight I can lift on compound movements, I started to see my physique change, because I was then pivoting to like sets of 8 to 12, and I was practicing full lockouts and emphasizing the stretch at the bottom portion of the movement. Whereas when I was doing sets of 1 to 5, there was no emphasis on the contraction.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I do believe that heavy compound lifts absolutely play a role in building like dense quality muscle that sticks with you for a long time.
Do you think that
1998, I remember everybody was saying that Flex was going to win the Olympia.
I think it's close, but possibly Flex could eke it out. Flex Wheeler. Obviously, Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman.
Ronnie Coleman or Flex?
Flex Wheeler.
Flex Wheeler.
Yes, sir. I think Flex has a better package.
Flex. And then Ronnie?
Probably Flex Wheeler.
Flex was the bigger guy and the more famous guy. For me, I was nowhere on the radar, because the highest I'd ever placed in the Olympia was like 6 first guys they called to do the comparison. It was Flex, NASA, and I think Kevin. So they had me pretty much 6 to 7, way down there behind all those guys. We started posing. It came down to the muscularity round, which was the second round. I was in the first call out now. When they called out 6th place, I'm like, I hope and pray that's not me. That is not where I wanted to play. Lo and behold, it was not me. So they called out 5th, and I'm like, okay, here we go. This is where I want to be. If I get 5th, I'll be more than happy, and it'd be the top I've ever placed in a Mr. Olympia contest. Well, 5th place wasn't me either. So when they got ready to call 4th, I just knew that was me. I was getting ready to step up and, take the trophy, whatever, because I knew I wasn't in the top 3, because they already picked those guys out. So when they called 4th, lo and behold, it wasn't me again. I'm like, wait a minute, this is going somewhere, because now I'm in the top 3. I'm saying to myself, most definitely, I got 3 racked up. So they called 3rd, and it wasn't me either. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm in the top two. It's me and Flex standing there together. Most definitely second place because leading up to the show, they had already had Flex winning. Called out second place. They said my name. I'm like, oh man, they done made a mistake. And then it hit me. Wait a minute, this is Mr. Olympia. They ain't gonna make a mistake. On this, when he said it, he paused like, it seemed like 5 minutes to me. Because I'm standing there all nervous. I can't believe I'm going to get second in the biggest bodybuilding show in the world. And I never, ever even dreamed of winning Mr. Olympia. So, for sure, I got second. There's no way I'm getting first. You know, I never faced the top five before in my life. When they called first place and they said my name, I thought, wait a minute, they just made a mistake. Then it hit me like, oh no, this show is way too big, you know, for them to make a mistake like that. And when I realized that I had won, I collapsed. All I remember is just falling to the floor when they announced me in first place. While I was down there, Flex was the first one that said something to me. He bent down, whispered something in my ear. I have no idea what he said. 1998.
Your 20s, the best years of your life. You're young. Why'd you leave UFC? My heart got broken in the fight with Yoel Romero. I knocked him out at the end of the second round. This is a title eliminator fight. The winner of us is going to go on to fight for the titles. He threw a variety of
This is the world's strongest IFBB pro, and I'm a science-based lifter. Let's see who's stronger.
For the challenge, we're doing 3 lifts total, and the first lift Larry challenged me to was
bench press. Nigga, let's do max reps for your body weight.
the first challenge is to bench press our body weight for max reps. So we need to weigh in.
Holy look at this, 265. My bench is pretty good.
Okay, let's see. Bro's mine.
Larry weighed in at 265 pounds, and I weighed in at 165 pounds. So I need to bench press for max reps with 165, Larry with 265.
You look too confident.
If I don't get this one, I don't stand a chance.
So I took my body weight, bench pressed it as many times as I possibly could, and I got
33. Jeez, pretty tough. 34. 30. Yep, all right.
Okay, take it.
We'll call it at 34. Yeah, so that means I gotta do 265, 35 times to win.
That's it.
So Larry loaded up 265 pounds and did it for as many reps as he could. But even if he beats me on the bench press, we're still going to do 2 other lifts to see if there's something I can beat the world's strongest bodybuilder on.
No! 33! 34!
I'm tired of taking it.
No, come on, bro. One more.
For the second challenge, I tried to use my lighter body weight to my advantage, and so I challenged Larry to a body weight pull-up plus 45 pounds.
Ooh, that's rough, but I'm in.
Good luck. Are you allowed to use straps?
No strap.
So with a 45-pound plate strapped around my waist, I locked in and did as many pull-ups as I possibly could.
Okay, 10.
Right, that was a solid 10. I got my working out for you.
Hey, you're gonna lose to a science-based lifter?
I really thought my lighter body weight would help me here, but Larry's just built
For
different.
the win.
Whoa.
No, come on, dog. What are you doing? What's that to the All right, I'll give it to you. You did get it, even though you kind of repped it on the last one. I'll still give it to you. You could win it with this lift.
Strict curl.
Strict curl.
For the third and final challenge, Larry's going for the biceps. So we loaded up a 45-pound plate on each side and did it for max reps. In my case, that went, well,
Yes. Right. Yes.
I couldn't quite finish the lockout. Let's see if Larry can curl it. Yep, that'll do it.
Okay.
Really good game, bro. You crushed it, man. I'm super impressed. Hey, respect. Make sure you subscribe. This is the world's...
Hey, Dad, do you remember when I was a kid what I was most afraid of? Chucky. Chucky. Tell everybody why I was afraid of Chucky.
Well, one night I was watching Chucky on VHS when it come out, and you was a little kid, and you was around the corner watching it behind my back. And you got so scared you went in your room and threw away that little My Buddy doll you had. I didn't know what was going on, so I took that doll out of the trash and put it back on your dresser and went to work. Well, the next morning your mother called me, and you in the background screaming and yelling, and she told me the story.
7 years old.
And she told me the story what had happened. So I thought it was pretty fucking funny. So I get home, and you'd already had a burial for this damn doll. You'd sliced it up with a pair of scissors and buried it in the backyard. So I waited till you went to sleep. I went out and unburied that doll, stitched it up real good, and set it back on the dresser. And then
Nothing funny about childhood trauma.
I went to work and waited for the phone call. Well, your mom called me, and you just said it was so hysterical, you couldn't even make a word. You just cried and bawling your eyes out. And then you burned that damn doll and buried it again. So the next night, I unburied it after you went to sleep.
That's fucking hilarious.
Stitched up the little overalls.
And you went
I was off the next day. See, anyways, I took the damn doll, I tied a piece of yarn around it like this, and put it on the top bunk bed on that little safety rail. So when you woke up, you slept on the bottom one, and you woke up, and it was right there in your face. So I woke up the next morning, and you was in there scared, terrified, screaming. You wouldn't even get out of the bed. You just kept hitting that doll with your pillow.
And this is the man you married, Younger stepmother. And you also bit yourself in the ass because I ended up sleeping in bed with you till I was like 12 years old.
You wanted my bed.
That's funny.
Name as many mammals as you can in 60 seconds. Ready? Go.
60 seconds. Well, how would you like that? How about alphabetical? Aardvark, baboon, caribou, dolphin, eel, hippus, fox, gorilla, hyena, ibex, jackal, kangaroo, lion, marmoset, Newfoundland, ocelot, panda, rat, sloth, tiger, unicorn, varmint, whale, yak, zebra. Now, varmint is a strip, so is Newfoundland, as a dog breed. Unicorn is mythical, Eohippus is
Listen to this former rock star talking about why you need Jesus in your life.
If you don't have the Lord in your life, you're always going to be trying to fill that hole, with something. Yes, it's either going to
Amen.
it's going to be Ferraris, or it's going to be houses, or wives, or this, or that, or fame. And you're never going to achieve it. Because there's that inner thing of us that when we're born, of reconnecting with God. That's there, and even if you're denying it, that's what you're searching for. Once you say, God, you're my God, now you have to answer to Him. People do not want to give up their God self, the self that they control. I control my life, right? Even people go to church. I go to church. Okay, but you haven't given yourself. You haven't given yourself fully, and that's where the fulfillment comes from. You can't explain that to somebody that's not searching.
Amen.
Granddad was never a professional fighter.
Granddad was never a professional fighter?
No, he was never a fighter. I have too much respect for real fighters who put bread on their table, bleeding and fighting, making that sacrifice, than to call even myself or another actor to give them those same accolades. I'm not a professional fighter. I can fight. I get in the ring with anybody. That's the truth. There's no professional fighter that I won't get in the ring. Right. I do not pay my bills through fighting. The number one guy that is transitioned from actual fighting and actually made one of the greatest fight scenes in movie history. There's nobody in his sphere. Is Benny Urquidez. Benny Urquidez is an undefeated kickboxer, real fighter, and did one of the greatest movie fights ever. The fight on Meals on Wheels with Jackie Chan. Granddad was never.
What kind of steroids would dudes do back then?
You know, you got, your test, D-ball, it's just basic stuff,
It's funny. He's not wrong. Guys did some basic stuff back then. They also did some not so basic stuff. That's when the 90s trend really started kicking. High dose growth hormone and everything started kicking.
What is the poorest country in the world?
Who's the most disciplined bodybuilder you've ever met? Eva Dunbar. I was coaching her for powerlifting, and then she's like, yeah, how much did you squat? She's like, I don't know, it was like 315 for 10. Strong. I'm like, no, you didn't. Send me a video. And so she's sending me the video, and they're like pretty good squats. I'm like, you need to do a powerlifting contest. And she goes,
This is really interesting. Check this out. Faith is dead. Your works are in vain. The life that you lived and offered to me as a life of Christian service is an abomination that I rejected in the Pharisee. What made you think I would accept it from a Laodicean type Christian? In fact, untold millions are living the same kind of life that you live, and they stand in danger of my everlasting wrath. Unquote the living God. I couldn't believe he was talking to me. I'm a preacher. I'm a teacher. I just told him about all my good works, what I've done. And I said, no, Lord, don't you wait. You don't understand.
He said, you didn't do those works for me. You did them for a false God. I said, Lord, I worked for you. I called you Lord every day. Yes, you did, but you never made me Lord. What a difference. To call him Lord gives him a title. To make him Lord promotes him to ruler of life. But Lord, I was serving you. No, you wasn't. You served a false God. Then he named me Satan's number one selling false God. S-E-L-F. Instantly, I knew everything he said was true. Had he reached down and picked me up and dropped me in hell, I would have said, amen. Your faith is. Let me know what you think in the comments.
That's so true. I never think about it like that. I mean, I heard this guy talk before now, but like, the more you grow in faith, just like what he said, it's like you have to do things for me, not for yourself. I don't care. It's all about the Jesus. Every single thing. He is the authority. And just like the thorn in the side of Paul, when Paul was talking about people that have problems with lust, people have problem with, sexual sin and that. But what if God said, I grant you those blessings, for that's the reason why you became who you are. Exactly what it is. Blessings enable us to grow, for that our works in his name give him pleasure. That's exactly. So if you say to yourself, hey, I don't do this just for myself. Or say, I don't do it for myself. People say just for yourself. I don't do it for myself. I do it for you in your name, God the Father Almighty, in your Son's name, the Word, Jesus Christ, in your Spirit's name, the Holy Ghost. That's a very good thing to look at. It's very interesting too, because you're just sitting there like thinking to yourself, it's like, huh? You never think about it like that. So you practice it, and everybody can do it. But no one's perfect though. That's the problem. People that are trying to be more faithful, like me or many others out there that are more faithful than me, but at least I'm trying. And many people don't even try. Just like the one kid that came on here, what was his name, Issue Man or whatever. Belly aching about me, talking about this and that, and saying, that he's better than me, the one that doesn't even believe in God. Emphasizing it. Well, if I don't believe, that means I'm better. How do you know that you're better when you don't believe? When you literally look at that concept, you make no sense at all. Like I said, you speak of things you don't believe in. So if you can use God and use, God the Father doesn't want you to do this. So you speak to him? Well, no. You know of his works? Yeah, that's not, no, Jesus does talk about, cussing and all stuff and that, okay. But do you not do the same sin as me? That's where it triggers people. You're just saying all this stuff and to make you look better also. So to trigger your demons is to say that you are at fault just as much as I am, but I accept it. And for that, you don't. So you don't accept your fault because you don't know that you're at fault. I know. I pray a lot. Sometimes little short prayers. Sometimes just me talking like this is giving out a prayer. I don't want to care about the wealth of the world. I care less about politics. I try my best to alleviate myself. The best way possible is to understand. I have my problems, but sometimes my mind is not my own. Some things get put into my mind that, and they only get put into my mind that a lot of times not, because I would say sexual demons are very vengeful, and they speak of it in the Bible over and over again. Every time I talk about Christ and that bitch of a succubus demon comes up, it fucking creeps in my head. And people say, well, why doesn't, Jesus get rid of it? Why doesn't God the Father get rid of it? Because that creep keeps me faithful. Let me repeat that. That creep of that succubus demon, which is my worst sin, other than cussing, because cussing doesn't, to me, I don't believe cussing intervals as being ignorant. Ignorance is how you feel when you do it. Saying, oh, motherfucker, you can be funny with it. I don't think it's ignorant. I mean, obviously, if you're raging like, oh, fuck you, motherfucker, you better blah. You're invoking rage with the words, but words just mean things. Cuss words can mean emotional things. Oh, shit. Oh, you pile of shit. It all depends on how you interact with it. At least from my opinion. But going back to Paul and that, Paul always says, why don't you take the thorn out of my side and that I have this problem with lust. And, it states in the Bible that. And God tells him, it's like, I don't want to, because without that thorn, you will lose faith in me. That pain constantly keep your faith with me. For when you're at your weakest, I'm at my strongest. If you're at your strongest, he's at his weakness. Because if you don't sin, he's pleasant with you. But if you don't have faith with him, then you run into sin to a certain extent. Sometimes people have shackles. It's kind of sad, but it's just how it is. I have a shackle. I refuse to have sex with women in that because I don't want to have a kid. Because my moral code keeps me away from it. I don't know why, it just does. Always been like that. But I still perform the duties. I still masturbate in that because to me, other than relief, it's an urge that's literally the most hardest thing in the world to get rid of. Sometimes people say, well, if you pray and all that stuff and they do all that stuff, and well, I have to say it though. Not everyone is the same. Okay, God didn't make us all the same. He made us all different. There's certain things about me that I don't know why God did what he did. But I have faith in it because it says, I always will go back. And I always do. I always do. Every single time. I feel a little bit guilty in that. I do my meditations. I try to clear my mind out. I try to bring my mind at peace. Every single time I do it. Every single time I do my duty. When I meet shackle myself. I do it every single time. And I know I do. So with that, that's what brings you faith. So everyone has some type of thing that they ponder about. Maybe you always say like, well, why is my life like this? Well, I could say, well, act of choice. If God gives you direction, you choose not to be the direction he wants you to be because you don't know yourself. He knows you, but you don't know yourself. Just like different characters, and all the characters have different strategies. They all do certain things, like Killing Floor 2. You have the perks. So you have the Berserker, Commander, Support, Field Medic, Demolition, Firebat, Gunslinger, Sharpshooter, SWAT, and Survivalist. They all have certain things that go to the team. So Berserker is very defensive, so is SWAT. Okay, Commando is very offensive, so is Demolitionist. Support is very supportive. That he does things, or she, depending on who you play with, obviously. But the perk itself does things that support the team, give you ammo and that. He carries more weapons than that, so you can have more weapons in general. So you can be more supportive. You can carry like health guns and stuff like that. You can get the field medic, all about healing that. Firebat, Firebat and double issues, obviously AoEs and that. They're very they keep up the stuff and that. They keep, things from not getting too out of control, too big of groups and that, because they can hit AoE, that's the main, one of the perks that they have. You get Commando and Sharpshooter, they're more or less the power hit characters and that. They shoot, one is very good with headshots, the other one just does a lot of damage in general. And then you get, Survivalist and Gunslinger. Gunslinger is just really fast, you can shoot a lot of stuff in that really quickly in that, a lot of reload speed, and he gets bullet resistance. It's just a lot of speed. Survivalist kind of does a little bit of everything. You can pick and choose. So what in life, like which one are you in your life? Are you a berserker? Are you a tank? Are you a defender? Are you a SWAT? Are you a defender? Are you an offensive person? That do you protect people with your offensiveness, or are you support? Do you support people? Do you heal people? So when you go look at yourself in that, just by using this little terms, it's like, what is your terms? Are you good at persuading masses? Are you good at controlling stuff in that? Controlling AoEs and that. Are you good at precise one-on-one interactions like a sniper or like a commando and something? And are you a defensive? Can you take emotional beating or take a beating that without resolving with too much, damage back because you're just good at absorbing? Or are you a support? Are the one that you're gonna carry a little bit more on someone? Are you gonna give ammo to someone, or whatever it might be that you give? Are you a healer? Do you heal people? Do you give comforting word? Do you tell people it's okay? You ask how they're doing that. These are the things that in real life, this is how it is. Some people have embedded into their genes already when they're born these categories. I mean, it's hard to completely look like that, but that's, if you want to go through video game logic, that's literally how almost all video games are. You always have a tank, and you always have a healer supporting the tank by healing. You always have a DPS supporting the tank by DPS. You always have a support, person that buffs up the DPS and buffs up, the tank and that, so you have more defense than that. And you always have an AoE person that knows how to sit there and direct AoEs to be able to destroy lots of lower level monsters and that faster. And you always have another support tank, so to speak, on the side that comes in whenever the tank needs actual help. And you have a survivalist, which just picks and chooses what role they need to do. That's literally how almost every RPG or almost every game has been Dungeons & Dragons base has been played. You want to say, is that how real life is? When you think about it, yeah. I think everyone has a perk. Some of them have multiple perks. But they have an ideal perk that they want to be. So you pick and choose. Okay, who do you want to be? I believe myself being a commando or a sniper. I'm very good one-on-one with people. And, I can be persuasion of masses and that, but what is your best? I like one-on-one. I like to be able to dig down and do that, and I'll pull out a field medic or even support and try to give comforting words and try to heal that and try to give, say my money to someone and that to be able to comfort them. And these are the things that life is all about. All these things, We have it better than us. God gave us these perks. Now we can use all of them, of course, but there's always one that we're favorite of, and one that we're really good at. I'm a very good socialist. I like to socialize, to gain knowledge. And I've been like that my whole entire life, very talkative. But what I talk about, I can brag and be like, oh yeah, women are always interested in me because I talk. And women like, talkative people. And it's like, oh, you're talkative and you're attractive. It's like, oh, okay. So, if I'm a talkative, attractive person, them are my perks. I could develop them. I can make it better. So, by getting in good shape, gain some muscle and that. But these are my perks. This is exactly who I am. So, people have to find out your perks. You have to find out who you really are. And, and following God really helps you with that. It helps to guide you to find out who you are. Find out your best potential. Find out what you actually need, not what you always want. There's more wants than needs by far. Sometimes people are just naturally just good at something. Anyway, I'm getting off now. I'm gonna go back to bed now. Cause I woke up a little early. I gotta work at 7, so I want to get a little snooze going on. And I'm starting to get tired, and I got eating a lot, and I had to recover from yesterday because I got my ass kicked yesterday. I could not. I'm gonna have to bring in like 2 scoops of protein, bring in some protein bars and that, because like it was bad. It was so difficult. Like I was so exhausted when I got home yesterday. I'm happy my endurance and my toughness is really high. It was the most difficult. I mean, I had walked home with fucking dead tire, shit face, as in like exhausted, like that moaning face. You're like, shit face. Maybe that's how I turn my shoes. Maybe it should be like morning face. You just wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I don't want to go to work today. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was kind of annoying. And walking home was very difficult because it was raining a little bit. And I was just tired. I kept telling myself, man, I'm tired. I'm yawning really loudly. And I'm like, I'm so exhausted. I'm so exhausted. I'm so exhausted. Because I haven't eaten any food since I left work and that. I had a 7-hour day. And, I ate food probably an hour before that or something like that. So I started getting hungry after like 3 hours of being there. So it was already 10 in that. I'm like, oh, fuck it. I got 5 hours to go. So around about 11 o'clock, when I started getting like fatigued, tired, and I'm just like, okay, I need to eat because I'm getting fucking tired. I'm burning through a lot of energy in that because we're working rather hard. I try to keep up a good pace in that. And I just got tired. I'm like, oh my god, I need to eat. And I couldn't eat. I'm like, oh fuck. And then I had to wait till literally the end of the day. And they're like, fuck it, I'll just suffer, wait till the end of the day. And I woke up and I'm just like, I'm so tired today. I even ate before I went to bed and that. I fell asleep. I woke up. I'm just like, yeah, I can't do that. I gotta at least have protein in my body in that because I don't want to be able to like suffer. I don't mind suffering a little bit in that, but my god, whew, tired. Anyway, I'm gonna get off of that. You guys have a good one. Bless. Keep your prayers up in that. God always does best. Amen.